Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TCR, Trinity Competitive Racing, and we are back and better than ever for the new rebrand of the league here for Season 17. It is the first round of the season for the new Challenger Series, taking over the Silver class as our second F123 tier running here on Tuesday nights, and it will be myself, Camden Luca, a familiar voice in TCR, and you know what? We're getting the band back together here for the Challenger Series this season. I have none other than, I almost said Golden Class driver, Elite Series driver, and a longtime co-commentator of mine, Sir Charles. How does it feel to be in the Challenger booth?
Quite nice. You know, the amenities aren't quite as nice as the Platinum booth must be said, but it's quite nice. I'm happy to be back. I think we're going to see some exciting racing this season, and I'm not gonna lie. Looking at these times, I'm realizing how slow I am already. But anyway, yeah, should be a good season here.
Yeah. I gotta say, we don't get as many drinks here in the Challenger Series booth as we do in the Platinum booth, so we might have to get that rearranged. So yeah, like I said, this is the first race of the new Challenger Series, and if you haven't been keeping up in the off-season, we basically rebranded our league. We went down from 3 F1 tiers to 2 F1 tiers. They will be running on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. This is the Challenger Series, so this is the second tier. Tomorrow night, we will be here, same time, same place, for the Elite Series, the Premier F123 tier. But like you said, Charles, I mean, I'm looking at these times right now, and they're all pretty good, but I think Kluka is kind of overinflating the times right now, putting up a really good lap.
Yeah, I agree, and he'd probably be one of the championship favorites coming in, but there are a lot of fast guys who I think will improve greatly. I mean, you got to look at F1 Nerd in there, as well as C-Dizzy. Those are probably two other guys I'd highlight. There's a few other guys, like for instance D-Swish, he's not here tonight. There's a lot of guys who could win this championship, and it'll be interesting to see who or how that shakes out. I will say, well, one thing you gotta look out for at this track is track limits, especially through the S's. Like I said, if we have a late safety car, it's going to come down to who doesn't have penalties and who does, so could pay to keep it clean.
We are here in Mexico, 17 corners around this track, and you and I were actually talking a minute ago. I haven't heard this much, but this track has some similarities to Canada. So Canada is actually in 2 weeks, so we might be seeing some people bring the same setup maybe to 2 of the first 3 races.
Yeah, I mean, I could just be an idiot with setups, but I was practicing earlier today, and I was like, this setup is the exact same as my Canada setup. So, it'll be interesting to see if that pays out. I did kind of do a practice race at Canada for another league. It was kind of an exhibition race on Saturday, and I don't know how my pace was, but it was an interesting race to say the least. So I think it works well for Canada. I'm split on Mexico. This is not one of my favorite tracks. I would not be that upset if a giant chasm just opened up and swallowed this track whole, to be honest, but it is what it is.
You know, I've heard that at least 3 times today by 3 other drivers, all of them actually in this race. So, but hey, you know what? We're getting it out of the way. Hopefully we won't have to come here until like season 20, you know? We'll just do our every 3 season special here in Mexico.
C-Freeze isn't racing anymore, so.
True. Yeah, why does he get to make the schedule?
Well, this is one of his favorite. This is probably, or used to be his favorite track, which is why it was always the finale.
I haven't thought about that before, but that's actually a pretty good point.
He's the only one I've heard of who actually genuinely likes this track. at least has it as one of his favorites. Or used to, anyway. I'm sure he'll probably say something in the comments again. Oh, well, actually.
Well, that's if he is watching. This is your test, Seafreeze, to see if you tune in to Tuesday nights.
Don't be like me and claim to watch and then get called out on a podcast or something stupid.
Which, by the way, we did have a podcast episode get posted earlier today, so if you want to see all of the predictions for Season 17, check that out. Also, if you are watching on the YouTube side of things, we are extremely close to 600 subs, so feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring the notification bell. I have been watching too many top-tier YouTubers, because that's basically what they do. They spend half the video promoting themselves, and then they get to be...
Oh, some 300s off. It was going to be a quick one. Interesting, he kept it in 7th gear through the S's. I usually drop it down to 6, like Bulldog, Baser. I want to say Bulldozer. He kept it through 6th gear through the S's.
Yeah, and you know what, Charles? Some guy is going to be one of the favorites this season. Seafreeze actually predicted him as our driver's champion. Based on last season, he came in late to Season 16, but had a couple of podiums, and he's going to be pretty quick.
I feel like, didn't he used to be a Golden Class driver in TCR? That name sounds familiar. I'm thinking like go-to guy or one of those guys.
You're probably thinking of him, because some guy, I believe, was a new driver last season, and he was strictly Silver Class.
Some other guy.
By the way, since we are rebranding to the Challenger class, Charles and I did make a little bit of a bet. We're going to see how many times we screw up the names tonight and say Silver Class. Or even if Golden or Platinum gets brought up somehow, we are keeping track of that. So if you want to keep track of that as well, for you guys watching, feel free to keep notes in the comments.
Pretty good through the S section. He was up big in Sector 1. Lost a bit of time in Sector 2. He really nails Sector 3. Still gained quite a few positions in time splits. That ain't gonna help.
To the line, he goes up to P7. Probably not what he is looking for. Another one of our favorites when it comes to the drivers, and that is because F1 Nerd came within a few points of getting Zionicle for the championship last season, so I know that he's hungry to try and finish one spot better here in the points.
Yeah, definitely, and of course now we have to worry about Zionicle next, or tomorrow night, so F1 Nerd really came on strong at the end of the season, especially struggled with some consistency early on, but really got the ball rolling. Well, he did catch that on a little bit. Quite close to deal out. That came out the final race.
Now, one of the things we also have to bring up is the points are going to be a little bit different this season. We're having a 14 race championship, but we are only counting your best 12 races. So you essentially get 2 strikes, and we talked about this on the podcast, but I feel like it almost takes away the art of consistency a little bit. The value of that goes down a little as C. Rizzy puts up in that time.
C. Rizzy actually lost quite a bit of time in Sector 3, so I think might try and race around and get another lap in, but that's gonna be tight if he can. See, I'm trying to get another lap in. I'm gonna do what he's doing right now, just straight line on the chicanes.
You know what? Anyway. I've actually gotten in trouble for doing this very same thing at this track, It was in a different league, though, so the rules were a little bit different. You are allowed to cut the track in qualifying as long as you're not getting in the way of anybody.
That is allowed in TCR, as long as you don't hit anybody. I know there are some leagues who get very passionate about not doing that. I'm glad you mentioned that, though, because I think what you're going to see is that, especially among the championship contenders, you're going to see a lot more aggression. So instead of guys maybe playing the long game and just saying, hey, let's make sure we get a good result here. Like I said, especially in the beginning few rounds when you have those strikes, everyone has those strikes available, could lead to some more aggressive racing. And obviously, I think the main reason isn't we're not trying to produce better racing, although we're aware that very well could produce better racing. But the main reason is that, we have some guys who, this is a hobby for most of us, some of us have other life commitments. We understand that it's really hard to make every single race every single season. So we don't want someone to win a championship just because they showed up for every race. If that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think it is unrealistic for a lot of people to show up to 14 races in a 16-week span. So, yeah, I like the move. But right now, we got to look at Kluka because he is headed into Sector 3, and he is up on his lap time right now, having pole position. Oh, and he just invalidates, though. So that will be it for his qualifying.
Codemasters, that did not look over the line. Get the cameras out for that one. Good grief.
Well, luckily I was on his onboard, so if that makes him feel any better, we do have proof.
I mean, I was on his onboard too. That didn't look.
Chabar to the line does improve, but still remains in P5. Before we get to this last
started a lap.
He just finished one.
Oh yeah, that's right. His batteries.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get into this last wave of qualifying, Zionical, I see you in the comments. I don't know what he's referring to, but he might be
probably
focusing
when I
on...
mentioned that we have to deal with him tomorrow or something.
Yeah, something like that. And then Dimitri says hello. Welcome. That
guys starting their final flyers right now.
Yeah.
F1 Nerd is the first one on a flyer. Some guy is voting guesses right now. No, it's not. That's the other Alpine. Predict Williams. Or is there two Alpines? Oh yeah, that's Bulldog. So F1 Nerd is the first driver of the drivers still on a flyer here.
He is below his lap time right now by about a tenth coming out of Sector 1, so this is going to be a crucial S's for F1 Nerd. If he wants to get a good starting position, he really needs to nail this.
If you want to wide on the apex there, I don't think it's gonna be enough. We did gain time though. So that probably bodes well for F1 Nerd because these laps are not particularly great. So there's plenty of time in there for him. It's a pretty good drive off the final turn. He improves, but be particularly happy with it. Speedy Gunner coming through the final sector as well.
Some guy to the line, but he goes pole position ahead of Kluka, a 116.7. Oh, and what on earth is happening with Bulldog?
I think he tried to get out of the way. I'm just waiting for people to pass, and he definitely got out of the way.
Hallberg to the line. Hallberg 117.2 P4 right now.
Let's see, Rizzy got. He improves by 5 1,000ths of a second. Won't do anything for his first time. And that's qualifying because Joby is 19 seconds down on his time, so I don't think that's really going to do him much favors.
So that will do it. Some guy, Seafreeze is picked for the championship with a 116.7 going provisional
Blend
pole.
Machine. Blend Machine's Dimitri.
Yes, so I had a feeling, like, I recognized that name. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to be like, oh, you're Blend Machine, and you're not. But yeah, that's what I figured. We have a legend in the chat. Blend Machine, former voice of TCR, one of the best silver class drivers of all time. It's good to see you, bud.
When's the comeback happening, Blend?
Seriously. Yeah, and that will do it. So we do have formation lap on, so we'll actually get to breathe when we do our predictions.
Well, we also have sprint race, don't we?
We do. That is something that we need to bring up. Season opener, sprint race. The first time in TCR we are doing that. We are starting the season and closing the season with a sprint week. I gotta say, I am a little surprised to see the Red Bulls 5th and 6th. They are by far the favorites for the constructors going into this season, so I'm sure they'll be looking to get some spots here off the line.
I'm just trying to think. Yeah, this is good. I mean, there's a lot of people on this grid who could win the race. Like I said, I think it's going to be a very it's going to be a very competitive season, I feel like, but
I agree. We were actually mentioning that in the podcast. Oh my word. This is going to be quite the sprint race. Oh no, Charles.
oh, that's not light rain.
No, that is
looks
a
like a
tsunami.
Oh man. Well, all of Mexico City is sinking pretty much. So it used to be a giant lake. So, it's your geography lesson for today.
Yeah.
No, maybe it's the water is just coming up from underneath. Yeah. I was going to say sprint races is usually a pretty straightforward bolt on the mediums to go the whole way, but I mean, I guess full wets works too. I did get weather confirmation that it will be a dry feature race, or main event, however you want to call it, but
I also see our guy Seafreeze. He is watching, but we will do this formation lap, which means, Charles, first predictions ever for the Challenger Series. Who do you got for the sprint race?
yeah, and they are on the full wets too. So this is going to be interesting. Rain can completely turn this upside down. Honestly, like, having a clear track is really, I feel like it's really important, especially since these guys probably didn't put a whole lot of practice in, so I feel like, they probably don't fully know what the braking zones is, so I think some guy is going to have an advantage there to screw up the braking zones in turn one, so I think some guy could run off into the sunset.
Into the rain.
Not have, run off into the mist, whatever. But then, yeah, I think someone who's really good at being consistent could get up there. I know C. Rizzy is, he's historically not been great in the rain. So I'm going to go some guy, I'm going to say Kluka's going to stay in P2. And I think someone who's really known for their consistency could jump up to the field. So I'm going to say Chabar's going to come up to P3. I feel like Chabar is good at not beating himself, so I think he could take advantage of these adverse conditions.
I am going to go out on a limb and say that Kluka is going to finish P1 here in the sprint race. We got to see what some guy can do under pressure. He's only had a few races here in the league, so we got to see how he can adapt, especially starting first. So I'll go Kluka P1. I'll go out on a limb and say Hallberg keeps it clean, finishes P2, and then I'll go some guy P3. I think this is going to be a mess. Just personal take of mine. I think this will be a mess.
And I will say one of the more one of the more dangerous corners in this entire game is Mexico Turn 1. It's such a long run down Turn 1. You're going to see guys 3 or 4 wide. Ooh, Exo can't park. BD Gunner is parking dead sideways for some reason.
Oh boy, and the order is jumbled up. Alright, it is a wet start to the Challenger Series for Season 17, but here we go for the sprint race. Lights out and away we go from the Mexican sprint race. Who gets off the line the best? Some guy gets off pretty well. Kluka has some wheel spin, and they are really sliding, trying to get off the line. Nearly 3 wide here in the midfield for 3rd place. F1 Nerd has made up 2 spots, but here they go into turn 1, this treacherous corner, and there's contact there. A broken wing for the AlphaTauri, and Hallberg is spinning out, and there's a crash.
Yeah, Hallberg got rear-ended by Speedy Gunner, who got rear-ended by, I believe, Bulldog, so just a bit of a chain reaction. You have one guy way in the back, and he's braking, and just kind of pinballed all the way up. Oh, and see, Rizzy got a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. What in the world? Okay. But anyway, as I was saying, Bulldog is now all the way up to 5th, and he's the one who started that whole mess.
Yeah, it looked like the AlphaTauri of Oreo Hafrican was the first one I saw go off track, but I said it was going to be a mess, and let's take a look at the positions gained and lost. Yeah, Bulldog up 7 spots. Hallberg, of course, right? I put him in my podium, and he is the biggest loser out of that, with wing damage in last.
Well, and as I predicted, look at my man Shabar up in 3rd. Flat 1, I should say.
Hey, I mean, Chabar is consistent, you know, and look behind him. One of the other most consistent drivers as XD champ with a drive-through.
Yeah, it's almost guaranteed that catches someone out. The Delta, they really need to figure out how to not make Delta as spastic as it is in this game. I mean, I feel like it gets worse every year.
Oh, look out! Some guy has trouble, and I think he just hit the wall. He got wheel spin off the line, and he loses a handful of spots. Doesn't look like much damage, but now he's under pressure for P3. That was close.
Yeah, I think he just saved it, but it's been a good start for the Red Bulls. Some guy gets into the back of F1 Nerd, and that could have been a disaster, but they kept to keep it in a straight line.
Yeah. Towards the back, we did see a spin at the restart. Exo ended up spinning out. He got wing damage.
They're all 4 guys into the pits after the first lap. Mayhem as Bulldog just goes straight there. And Rizzy gets him plenty of room to get back on and kind of loses some time himself. So see Rizzy up to P5. It'll be interesting to see how he got that 5-second time penalty for corner cutting out. Did you catch that by any chance?
I did not, no.
So if it was more of a Codemasterism, where you just get a penalty, because they can get a bit creative with their penalties sometimes. There is a chance that Rizzy could get that penalty removed and retain his points from the sprint race. The problem is that he won't be able to retain his starting spot because we're not going to be resetting the lobby before the main race.
Kluka up to P1. F1 Nerd has gained a handful of spots off the line. Up to P2, looking for more here. He could get a sprint win out of this.
Redemption out off the back of a frustrating qualifying. Oh, but F1 Nerd of a big tank slapper there. They did a good job to hang on to it. And now it looks like the Red Bulls are going to swap again. I think Jabbar might have he might have either get a slapper himself or he let F1 Nerd go, but his own mistake there. Big gap behind C Rizzy. Wario Hafrigan and Joby are all ahead of themselves. So yes, this being a sprint race, there should be no pit stops required. So we get a safety car here. It's like P6 and 7. Could be. Oh, and Exo spins again. Not a good start to his.
Oh, and he just crashed into the wall while being parked, and that brings out a safety car. Oh, man.
There's a safety car I was talking about. So that nice, relaxing race that Oreo African and Jadobi were about to have, it's just gonna.
Yeah, that would, I would say that is accurate. Man, well, we're only 3 laps into the season, and it is everything that I expected.
Oh, and now we have another automatic 5-second penalty from exceeding track limit. I don't know what's going on.
Well, we do have stewards here in TCR, and I'm sure the stewards are about to get off of their off-season break and right back into it, because they've got a lot on their hands already, it seems like. Oh, but take a look at this. Kluka in the pits. I'm curious as to what he does here.
Is the rain lightening up? Like, is it Inter's time?
It is.
Interesting. Both Red Bulls stay out. A lot of people staying out, though. Oh,
Joby stays out. He's in P3 now. Let's take a look at Speedy Gunner on back. They got really separated through all of that chaos, so they're just approaching the pit lane.
Yeah, and they're so far back, I would catch up to the field before I think about pitting. Of course, he's going to pit. But, you want to make sure you actually catch the safety car during the safety car period. Usually the game lets you, but when you're that far back. Oh, as Joby just decides to go safety car, buddy. You can relax a little bit.
And XD Champ is going to put on a new wing. He just hit the wall on pit entry.
Yeah, I have a feeling someone like XD Champ just won't be catching the back of the field, because it's... my personal opinion, it takes longer to catch a safety car when it's raining. At least from my experience, that's what I think. But Speedy Gunner also won the Inters, so it's XD. Again, I think XD Champ's just too far behind. But I don't know. We'll see. We could get a 4-lap safety car here. You never know.
Oh, what has just happened here? Bulldog has crashed out under safety car, it looks like.
That is a... Let's go take a look at Speedy Gunner, see if you can see him.
Yeah.
It's a weird spot to crash out at.
You know what? I don't see any wheels detached. It looked like he might have just parked it.
That is interesting.
Oh, look at this. F1 nerd probably should have pit the previous lap. He is now in the pits, and he will go all the way back to where he started.
Yeah, you got Chibar doubling down.
I do want to give a quick shout out to Chabar right now. I think this would be a good time to do it. Chabar's dog is having his 17th birthday this Thursday. I was told to give a little shout out for that, so that's pretty damn impressive. Happy 17th birthday.
So we have David in the Discord chat. I'm thinking that might be Exo. He says his wheel is dead. That's why he was having troubles keeping things straight.
That would explain that, because he spun out and then went directly into the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. But I do just
want
to...
Hopefully he gets that fixed for the main race.
Yeah, luckily for him, this is just a sprint race, and I do want to remind how this works. So, as of now, Hallberg and XD Champ will be missing out on points, because the top 8 will get points. First will get 8 points, and 8th will get 1 point.
As a reference for everyone, we do normal F1 scoring. Aside from the aforementioned, we remove 2 races. But in terms of individual races, we do regular F1 scoring, just a couple leagues. Get a bit more creative with the points one, just so we keep it nice and simple.
I gotta say, Chabar could pit here. He's not going to, but the safety car stayed out another lap. If he wanted to pit, he could.
Oh, and Joby pitted. There goes Chabar's buffer.
Yeah, I think this lead might be short-lived for Chabar. Just unfortunate timing there with the rain. it's really hard to call it in those scenarios to where it's almost transitioning to inners, but of course you don't want to take a risk and make the wrong decision.
I've been on both the good and bad side of these. Is it raining? Is it not? Decisions. I know all how that feels.
So I did mention before how we have rebranded our F1 tiers. We will not have a race on Thursday this week, but next week will be the first ever race for our new iRacing tier. Not likely to be broadcasted. We're just getting things started up there, but if you have iRacing, we have plenty of spots open in that tier. We will be using these Super Formula cars, and we will be starting next week. So make sure to sign up on the website if you are interested.
Certainly be a unique experience there. I won't be kind of disappointed I'll be missing out on iRacing. Also, might be streamed, but what's the calendar looking like for the iRacing streaming?
So, yep, safety car in this lap. We start out at Silverstone. That's the first race, and then we go to Monza, Canada. Kind of a similar schedule to our F1 tiers.
Just put Brands Hatch on there.
I didn't make the schedule, so yell at Seafreeze. But Chabar on wet tires, gonna hit the gas, and we're back underway. How long can he keep the lead?
To turn one, it looks like. Uneven.
Kaluka gonna get the overtake done. Looks like for P2, though, things getting feisty. Oreo African lurking as they're side-by-side for P2. Chabar trying to hold on to some guy. And we have a safety car because... well, why do we have a safety car?
That's Champ spun and lost his wing.
Interesting.
And that caused a full-core safety car, I guess?
Well, you know what? I gotta say...
He caught up to the pack?
No.
He wasn't. Yeah.
I do gotta say, though, Charles, I actually am loving the idea of keeping a sprint race in the season opener, because this is basically the test dummy, right? Now we know, like, if, say the safety car was put on increased, we can fix that. If any settings were screwed up, it looks like Oreo might have... something's going on here. Oreo now has to pass F1 Nerd. He just lost a few spots. Not sure what just happened. Maybe. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, so now, here's the thing, though. Chabar's race is saved. I think he could come in and pit. He'll come out P9 probably, or he can stay out. I mean, either way, like, I don't know. I don't know where he's going to end up now that he stayed out.
I feel like he's just made his bed, and it's like, he's going to have, 3 laps of racing when you go back to green, maybe?
Right.
So, might as well keep the track position.
Oreo African definitely did have an incident there under safety car. Comes in and replaces the wing, which is a shame because Oreo is actually just a reserve this season. He's been a full-time driver the past few seasons, but he'll be making starts every now and then, and he was up competing for a podium there before that safety car.
I mean, when you do say this is a test dummy, the thing that sucks is that these guys, this won't do a whole lot to really calm the nerves, I guess, because you're not really learning anything. The race is going to be dry. So you're not really learning anything that will really help you in the main feature race here, so... just add insult to injury here.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. Especially under safety car.
Well, we'll probably get another lap, and he might be able to catch up. Maybe.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting another lap.
It's going to be a 3-lap shootout.
Oh, Kluka pulled a dummy. He thought that was going to work on Shabar.
It's not going back to wet, is it?
No. Based on what I'm seeing, definitely not. So, I do want to go over the F1 calendars a little bit for the F1 23 tiers because, as I mentioned, the sprint races will be the first and last weeks of the season, which I can only imagine what that's going to be like for the season finale in Abu Dhabi, especially if we have a championship battle going into there, which, by the way, like I said, Abu Dhabi will return as the season finale, which lines up with the actual F1 calendar. And then we will have 2 3-tire specials this season. The first 3-tire special will be at Canada in 2 weeks. You're going to want to tune in for that. 3-tire special, 20 seconds in penalties. That'll be great. And then the other one is in Brazil.
Should be exciting. We also have a 100% race in Great Britain. Don't forget about that.
Yeah, that will be round 7. Typically, Britain is round 6, but since we're having 2 break weeks this season, we're basically splitting the schedule into thirds. So that's why we're doing that.
And XD, after 5 laps of safety car, has finally caught up to the pack, although he did cause the last safety car, so... I don't think it was anything intentional, but,
It is up to Kluka to determine this restart. It will be a 3-lap shootout to see who wins the sprint race here in Mexico.
Oh, an Oreo half again. Once again. Guys are... Oh, he spun again under... Oreo spun a second time under safety car. As some guy got a huge...
XD champ straight into the wall and he is out of the race. Oh, take a look at this, though, for P4. No safety car yet. We're still racing. Speedy Gunner taking a peek on C. Rizzy for that spot, but he will remain in his position.
That was the... I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I mean, that's just such a huge face palm. I feel bad for XD Champs. I think Shabar is going to be a sitting duck. I think he's going to finish 9th in this race.
Yeah, I agree. He is holding tough, though, wheel to wheel with some guy. Good, respectful racing right there, and he's going to concede the position.
Oh, that's side-by-side into the S's. Speedy and F1 Nerds. Speedy backs out and loses another spot. Let's see where he gets a 3-second time. And Shabar almost dies.
Position swapping like crazy. F1 Nerd looking for a spot on C. Rizzy. He's got him based off of penalties, but he needs to get him on track. He's peeking to the outside here into the stadium section. Whoa, look at that drift.
Oh, man. Oh, it's here. He's still sliding. Oh, and he probably pushed F1 Nerd off track, albeit certainly didn't mean to. Now, F1's going to do the old switcheroo on him and gets the traction down, able to scoot on away.
Man, we got several battles on track for P3 and for P6. Speedy Gunner losing a spot to Hallberg, and Hallberg is making up some time.
Meanwhile, Kluka has jumped away into a separate postal code here.
He's in another universe right now. That looks like Hallberg, though, under pressure from Speedy Gunner. Heading into this corner, we know Speedy will not back out of this.
Now Shabar almost goes wide. That's going to be interesting because all these guys are faster than Shabar. How are they going to navigate us? He got a little sideways there. He held on very well, actually.
Here they go into the S as Speedy Gunner lurking on Shabar. Shabar with those weaker tires at this point. This is really where things are going to hurt him.
Well, it's holding on better than I thought as Speedy Gunner is drifting. And Shabar should have finished at least P8 or P7, looking at the time at least.
Oh, there was just contact there. Oreo African looked to have made contact, and yeah, you can see his broken wing.
Oreo is sliding, and that really caused Speedy to check up. Fortunately, Hallberg was not close enough to take advantage of it.
Oh, are we going to get 3 wide here? We might, but Speedy Gunner pulls the block on him. Hallberg to the outside. We are 3 wide here on the final lap at Mexico. Who is going to get this into turn 1? Oh, no, they're not backing out. Oh, Shabar goes wide. There's contact here. There. Speedy goes off the track, goes through the grass, and Shabar is going to lose 2 spots here.
More than that. Oh, Shabar banging wheels with Oreo African there.
Shabar might be a little ticked off. Wow.
If I was Shabar, I would have let them 2 go and just had them drive it deep. But oh, Shabar gets punted by, I believe, Joby there. And Shabar has to stay close to Oreo African to keep that spot. Oreo just goes straight for the S's there. It's help Shabar's case.
At the front, though, Kluka with a dominating sprint race. A 4-second lead on some guy. He will get 8 points and start first place for the feature race. Checkered flag, Kluka wins the Mexican sprint race.
Well, something happened between Joby and Shabar. Didn't quite catch it. It's not going to make a difference in the finishing order. Shabar is going to almost spin. I think he's going to lose. And Shabar lost 7th place in that last corner there.
Wow. Yeah, things went bad to worse there for Shabar. No points for the Red Bull driver here in the sprint race.
Did he get a penalty in the last corner or something?
He was drifting it. I didn't see him cut a corner, though, so maybe he could get that removed. Wow, what a sprint race. Folks, we still have a 50% to go. You haven't seen anything yet.
Shabar got a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, let me check this out.
On that last corner somehow.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know where that came from, but anyway.
Wow, that was, I knew it was going to be crazy when I saw the rain, but dude, that was nuts.
Let's check the Discord. I'm sure all conversations will be civil.
Nope. If you are not in the TCR Discord, you can join.
The wall was in my way.
Who said that?
Oh, boy. That was David, who I believe is EXO.
Yes. How dare the walls be on the racetrack?
Alright. I am going to be right back. I'll be back before the start of this race, hopefully.
Alright.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to stay here, see, because I'm sure someone will ready up right off the bat. That being said, I'm sure we'll get a safety car. Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Comment how many safety cars you think we'll have in the chat, you guys. I see you guys have come loud and proud here for the first race of the Challenger Series, so I'm going to say we get 1. I don't think we'll have as many as the sprint race, which is kind of hard to believe, to think that we get less safety cars in the 50% race.
Well, I mean, it's not raining, so that helps. A lot. Oh, man.
By the way, I do want to mention, if you want to see the Season 16 highlights, we had a video about a week and a half get put up on the YouTube side of things. If you go to the video section, you'll see it there. It's a pretty in-depth montage. It's about 17 minutes long, so go and check that out once this race is over.
All right. We will have formation lap once again.
Oh boy, this is quite the bag of tricks we've got here on strategy. First place, soft tires. Second through fourth, mediums, hards, and then mediums and softs on back. Just about any type of strategy you can think of.
Yeah, and I will say, both the soft medium and the hard medium is fairly even time-wise. At least the game says it is. In my opinion, usually the game is a bit more aggressive in terms of, there you see the strategies there, a bit more aggressive in terms of what the tire actually is. So I would lean more towards, if we go green the entire way, soft or medium hards would be a better strategy, in my opinion. But if we get a couple safety cars, I think I would definitely speed the paper back to maybe a soft car. So, really, any of these strategies could work. I do like starting on the mediums, because I feel like it just gives you a lot of options either way.
So,
yeah.
I'll do predictions first, and then I'll hand it over to you. I'm going to say Kluka gets it done. I liked his pace in the sprint race, even though it was wet. So I'll go Kluka P1. I'll go C Rizzy P2, and then I'll go and say F1 Nerd P3.
I'm going to go... I think some guy's going to get it done. I'm going to say Luca P2, and then I'm going to go F1 Nerd. I'm not really going out on a limb too much, but we'll see. I think some guy has good pace. Yeah.
As they enter the grid...
Speedy Gunner is once again entering this pit box completely sideways for some reason.
Hey, maybe that's the way to go. All right, the off season is over. We are getting season 17 underway, the first ever race for the Challenger Series here in Mexico. Lights out and away we go from the Mexican Grand Prix. Who gets off the line the best? Kluka does not get going, loses several positions off the line. This propels some guy in the first place, but F1 Nerd gonna take it to the outside here as they head down to turn 1. This is quite the pack of cars. Who's gonna make it out of there in P1? F1 Nerd gets the jump.
Yeah, a bit of a howler of a start from Kluka there. I'm sure he just wasn't paying attention. Everyone else behind, though, gets through cleanly.
Looks like C Rizzy gets P2 here. Bulldog, yeah, Bulldog in a battle.
Yeah, he's ghosted, though, so I'm not even sure if he's in the car right now.
Okay.
Yeah, Kluka on the softs, that's not what you want to do. And if you're on the softs, you want to get a good start and drive off into the sunset. It's going the exact opposite right now. And now he's behind Speedy Gunner, who, it's gotten, his racecraft has improved a lot since we last saw him, but we know he's not going to roll over for him, that's for sure.
Yeah, let's see how this goes here into this corner. Looks like Kluka gets by him.
Good.
Not sure if that was a warning, but XD champ now. Are you kidding me? Why? Oh. Okay. We should be good now. Let me. So I think we just had a pause in the stream. Let me know if things are good on the YouTube side of things. Not sure what happened there, but I think we should be good to go. So just if you're watching, just give us an update here as to what's going on there. Good thing it happened under safety car, if anything. Alright, yeah, we're good. So, yeah, apologies there. We had some sort of a delay. Not sure what was caught in that, but we had a safety car. Joby crashed out in Sector 3, so that bunches up the field once again. Just as Kluka passed you. Okay, let me go back and look, because that sounds like it was a while ago. Oh, it was when I went to invite somebody. That's concerning. Charles,
I'm back.
You're back? Okay, so we had a brief pause in the YouTube stream. Things got stopped for a second, but we're good now. So,
I say it's still going on my phone, so
yeah, no, we're good. We should be good now. So yeah, safety car in this lap. F1 Nerd in the lead. Joby ended up crashing out, causing the safety car. Kluka down to P4 after a poor start. He'll be looking to get some spots here off the restart.
no one pitting under that safety car. Kind of surprised someone in the back didn't just put on some fresh tires to maybe get off strategy a little bit. Really had that lap.
F1 Nerd on the power, and we're back underway. Take a look at this, though. See Rizzy and some guy are side by side at the finish line. What is Kluka going to do here? He's going to take it 3 wide.
Some guy timed that perfectly. He got past C Rizzy. I think he might get passed by Kluka. Kluka, some guy holds it pretty well around the outside there. Side-by-side action back towards the back. Hallberg beside trying to overtake XD.
XD gonna concede the position, but Hallberg goes a little deep. XD possibly setting up for a switchback. There he goes! Too hard on the power, though. And Kluka is pressuring some guy here. Some guy losing about 7/10 to F1 Nerd off the line.
There's the first of the time penalties. Kluka's going to go for a move into the stadium. He gets that job done.
Some guy, though, with the switchback into the stadium section, and he will not get the position.
Smart. You're not going to pass around the outside there.
Yeah. Definitely not. But here we go. Snaking down the front straightaway. Kluka getting defensive. Some guy under pressure from C Rizzy now. And a little bit of a gap back to Speedy in 5th.
Oh! XD goes for a dive on Hallberg.
Oh, man, that was bold. At the front, though, take a look at this. F1 Nerd over a second ahead of Kluka. He's outside of DRS. Oh,
BB just got a warning there.
Yep, I saw that. Oh no, and Kluka has crashed out in the S's. That is his race over, and we have our second safety car of the race.
Ooh. Oh, did not see that coming. And Kluka, when we talked about the new point system, Kluka just used one of his mulligans right there.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I talked about this on the podcast. You just got to finish races. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, no matter. And you know what he's doing? He's probably trying to make the most he can out of his tires. you know, trying to make up what he lost in the start, and you just gotta kind of gotta accept whatever's happened in the race, and you know, just make the best of whatever situation you're in. You know, you can't make a bad situation worse by driving over your head. It might have been what was Kluka's downfall there. So, one of the early championship favorites. I don't know if they'll get a good start here.
I do gotta say, finishing races is important, but not commenting in the chat while you're racing is also a good tip of advice. Just to put it out there.
Who commented in the chat?
Just on the Twitch side of things.
Oh.
4th place. At least you're aware, Speedy. At least you're aware. Yeah, so 2 safety cars here in the first 6 laps. Only 1 driver still on the soft tires since the start, which is Bulldog. I actually don't think I have him. Do you know if you have him on your list?
I don't think so. I think he's a new driver, is it? Okay, no, never mind. It was just a glitch on my end. It's Speedy running into the back of C Rizzy there.
Oh,
Speedy, if you're listening, put on enters. Hit.
Yeah, it's getting a little cloudy out there right now. Oh, look at... Oh, he faked them out. He juked them. Not the first one we've seen today. Man, oh man, oh man.
Surprised. Well, Exo is pitted, but I'm surprised no one in the back is pitted. Like, if you're Shabar, like, do something different. Maybe put on even fresh hards. You think you might? I don't know. Mediums don't really have a whole lot of laps on. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're on the mediums now, though, you're probably thinking putting on the softs at the end, just because you've had so many safety car laps on these mediums. Like I was saying earlier, I feel like medium to hards is a better strategy if it goes green the whole way, but a few safety car laps, I think you can stretch the mediums and make the medium soft strategy more viable.
Yeah. Well, I do gotta say, since Speedy is in our chat, Speedy, if you want to give Bulldog an invite, if you have him on your list, feel free. Oh, well, that does not help. He does not... Oh, Exo Dave almost hit the wall under safety car. Track's over here, buddy.
Don't want anyone getting penalties under safety car. Alright, safety car go in this lap, or are we just going to do another lap?
No, it should be in this lap, I can imagine. And the safety car is in this lap. So it will be up to F1 Nerd, who got off to a pretty average start in the sprint race and his qualifying, but now he is up here in P1 as they are duking out here under safety car for P9. When will he go?
See if Rizzy can do what some guy did to him in the last safety car. No, not quite. A little bit of wheel spin there.
We're back underway.
Under attack again. Yeah. Rizzy's going to be under attack again, this time from Speedy Gunner, I'd imagine. Speedy backs off the battery, 7th position to stay in line. As soon as I say that, chucks it around the outside. We also have a battle between Hallberg and XD Champ side by side. I feel like they've been side by side the entire race, pretty much.
Wow, that was a great move by Speedy Gunner around the outside, makes it work, but like you said, behind them, we do have a battle here for P5. XD Champ's gonna squeeze it onto the curbs here on Hallberg. Oh, gets a little bit sideways. Oh, there's a bit of contact, and there he goes.
Oh, man, I thought he was gonna hang on to it, but well, that'll be a little contentious there. I think those two are probably just tired of being side by side with each other.
Meanwhile, at the front, F1 Nerd ahead by 7/10. Man, quite the transformation from the sprint race.
Yeah, like I said, most of those guys probably had I'd say most of you guys probably don't even have a wet setup. I'd be one of them. But if you did have a wet setup, you definitely wouldn't be using it because this feature race, and I'm gonna have C-Rizzy looking to. If I had to imagine C-Rizzy probably has similar pace to the two guys in front of him, but he's got Speedy Gunner right in front of him. Speedy Gunner dumping the battery right here.
C-Rizzy, though, here he goes, peeking to the outside. Can he do what Speedy Gunner did a lap before?
They were literally, oh, he got a little loose there on the entry, but he's going to try and set him up. Doesn't quite get the run, but I feel like C-Rizzy, even C-Rizzy doesn't get the move done right here. He stays patient, but he'll have it easily when the DRS gets enabled. He almost went to the back, and that's what I was supposed to get. I think if you're C-Rizzy, you got to also worry about Hallberg as well, and Jabbar, and Oreo, and Exo, and yeah, the entire field.
Everybody is behind Speedy Gunner. Speedy Gunner, if there was an award for hardest driver to pass, it would probably be him.
Speedy is TCR's Ryan Needham award.
True.
Currently conducting the choo-choo train. Yeah, look at that gap. It's already 3.5 seconds almost up to some guy.
All aboard the choo-choo train here in Mexico. Alright, that's enough of that.
C-Rizzy with a big tank slapper out of the final corner, so I don't think he's going to get the jump on him, but he doesn't have to worry about anyone behind him this time.
Oh, he's looking. He pulled a dummy on him. Oh, C-Rizzy, though, gets a little sideways, under braking. That is not going to set him up here for the straightaway.
Exo really went for a late lunge of Oreo Hafrigan. Didn't really come off for him. So yeah, I think they're just going to settle it amongst themselves. They do. It's just frustrating for C-Rizzy, but he's just got to be patient here.
Oh, man, that was a tank slapper by Oreo there out of that corner.
C-Rizzy just has to be patient, has to be smart here. Just wait for a DRS straight, and he should have a relatively easy overtake. Or wait for Speedy to mess up to the S section.
Spin in the back, XD Champ goes around. Here we go into this right-hander. C-Rizzy trying to get this move done. They have lost 5 seconds to the top two, and he is going to muscle his way by here in the stadium section.
Alright, the thing is, the problem is Speedy now is going to be behind him for the long straight, and there's a double DRS zone. Yeah, and C-Rizzy gets a really good drive out of there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Speedy's already drained his battery.
Here he comes, C-Rizzy going ultra defensive. Speedy back to the outside. 0% on the battery. What is that strategy? Oh, and he does it again under braking.
Working as C-Rizzy. C-Rizzy just has to, a few more mistakes out. Now, I've raced wheel to wheel with C-Rizzy on several occasions, and he usually doesn't make many mistakes. But he's making a few here.
XD's bad day has gotten worse. He spins out again. I do just want to mention real quick, if you are still watching on the Twitch side of things, we did get the YouTube fix, so go check that out if you would like. Oh, Speedy misses his apex, but C-Rizzy doesn't get a good exit. Here's Hallberg making a move here into the stadium section. Boy, they are tight. Oh, and there's contact. He gives Speedy a bump. That was Hallberg.
Now, C-Rizzy's got to be screaming in helmets. He was trying not to pass Speedy there, but because of the whole stack up, he kind of had to make a move, and here comes Speedy once again. Going back and forth, the gap between them and the top two, 7 seconds now. This battle just keeps going on for third. Speedy does, yeah, the lack of battery from Speedy really hurt him there, as C-Rizzy's able to drain it. He drained what battery advantage he did have, I think. C-Rizzy now has no battery, but Speedy decides to do anything there. He does not. Wasn't quite close enough. And I think will XDB retiring here. Yep. So XD Champ retires into pits. See as he can set sail here now that he has some clean track in front of him.
Now Chabar is going to be the frustrated one. Can he get by Speedy Gunner, because C Rizzy is already pulling a gap? I think he's going to wait for the straightaway.
Well, the problem is that Speedy has still within DRS range of C Rizzy. I thought C Rizzy would just take off into the sunset, but
well, Speedy, no battery, even though he's hitting the overtake button. Chabar is going to use his as well. He's going to set himself up for an overtake on Speedy, but Speedy has DRS as well.
Speedy went a little deep there. Bar's trying to get the run out of the first complex of turns there, but can't quite get it done.
C Rizzy blinking as well. Both of these drivers using the battery. C Rizzy definitely being aggressive here under braking.
Yeah, C Rizzy's probably heated, burned his tires up. The amount of sliding he did behind Speedy Gunners. It's worth noting, though, now that C Rizzy is leading the train, if you will, they are still losing a couple tenths here and there, but are losing significantly less time than they were. The top two.
Oh, Chabar to the outside, gets squeezed a little bit off the track, and I'm sure he's not going to be too thrilled about that.
Yeah, that was a tight move to make anyway. Almost made it work. Once again, C Rizzy not quite able to break DRS, but he is a couple tenths further along than he is. I'm sure Chabar would like for C Rizzy to get a move on.
He might get a move here. Hallberg on Chabar, going left and right. Now to the inside is Hallberg, and he's going to back out of it.
Oh, but now it's Exo coming on Hallberg, and Hallberg, he backs out of it. Probably a smart move, because I feel like if they would have gotten side by side, they would have risked losing the train.
Meanwhile, at the front, you're not missing anything there. F1 Nerd up a second and a half on some guy for the lead.
Yeah, it's pretty much stayed the same for the past few laps, so who's going to blink first?
Yeah, this is getting to the point now, Charles, where these mediums are going to be coming to an end, and we're going to be seeing pit stops, but Chabar might get this overtake done. Speedy with a mistake.
The thing is, if you're Chabar, you know, are you going to get caught doing the same thing that...
Goodness! There's a spin! Exo goes around!
Yeah, it looks like he did that all by himself. Oh, he retired!
Was that on track? That looked like it was on track.
Yeah, it's the car still moving, yeah.
Oh boy. Take a look at this here. Speedy and Chabar going at it. This is gonna get fun.
And I think Hallberg is going to be saying thank you very much, but none of these guys have battery.
Oh my goodness. Wow. He's gonna send it on Speedy last second. Speedy gives him the space. How is this gonna turn out?
Chabar should get the position because he has DRS and a little bit of battery. He doesn't have much battery, but that's got a little bit of it. I know neither of them have DRS, either. Interesting.
These two have raced side by side before. It hasn't ended well before. How will it end this time?
It's pretty tame. Now, Hallberg said thank you very much. He's going to go riding off into the distance here. Shoot, if you're Hallberg, I mean, shoot, hit the mediums, get a huge undercut on everyone else right now. All these
I
other
agree.
guys are probably going to softs, but...
Oh, look at this. Chabar has had enough, and he is going to push Speedy off the road here as they head into the stadium section.
Woo! Well, Speedy does the same thing back. Oh, and Chabar. Okay, stay calm, guys. Chabar's gonna get a pass off track there. And this is brought to Oreo's like, oh, hey, I have friends now.
Yeah, this is getting quite tense, I think. I think this battle is getting very aggressive. Both of these guys losing a lot of time here. And now, look at Oreo get both of them! A 2-for-1 for the AlphaTauri, but here comes Chabar. He's going to send it. And get that spot back.
But I think Oreo was in a good spot to do a switchback on, he's in a good spot. Oh, and he got a 5-second penalty for passing Speedy off track. Come on, Codemasters. Come on.
He'll get that removed.
Well, he gave up the spot, so.
Oh, well, he almost spun out right there. Almost a little insult to injury.
I bet Oreo's probably not happy with that because he's in a good spot to get the switchback. I mean, he's entirely entitled to the space, so he didn't really do anything wrong in that scenario. But that penalty for passing someone off track, quotes, is kind of dumb. And Speedy, I think, just gave the spot back to him. So we'll see if he's just setting him up for the DRS straight, but we shall see.
I do gotta say, I am impressed with Hallberg this race. I think he's in a good position here to get a podium, and I believe this would be Hallberg's first podium in TCR if he were to get it.
Yeah, he came close last year, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He almost won a race.
Yeah. Was that Oreo? Remember when Oreo was leading at Suzuka when it was pouring sideways? He didn't switch tires, never went to a rain race or whatever. Or never dried up, or it was one or two.
Oreo almost won Japan. Hallberg almost won Monza. He was leading late in the race.
I remember, yeah. Hallberg, I mean, I'll say, I think we said this before, but Hallberg's really improved his overall racecraft. And honestly, all those guys, I mean, it was a bit tense with Chabar and Speedy Gunners. That was some pretty good racing between all those guys there. I don't think anything ever really went too far over the line. I'm sure there'll be maybe a few pleasantries exchanged in Discord after the race, but I think it was some fairly good racing. A little bit elbows out, but nothing more than that. So.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I do want to check in on the leaders because we basically haven't had the chance to do that. Some guy, an F1 nerd, about the same on the battery, and if you look at the gap, some guy is almost in DRS.
But he's been close. I mean, I've noticed a couple times. He's been close a couple times. Both of them have about the same battery.
Oh, no. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, Charles?
Yep.
Oh,
that's
dear.
Like
Yeah, that's a good point. We got rain, ladies and gentlemen. Rain is in the air.
That's probably not what some guy wanted to see. Although some guy did come back to second in the spring race. Some of these guys, did not like the rain. Although I think the guys who really struggled in the rain, well, Kluger probably wishes he was still out there because he was absolutely flying. But oh, and they're pitting already. Yeah, it looks like it's coming down pretty darn quick. We'll see if anyone gambles and decides to stay out an extra lap. Rizzy's doing the same thing. Hallberg's pitting. I hate it when the rain comes. Yeah, DRS is already the same. It just started raining like a sector ago.
Not the first time we've seen this.
Yeah, I hate when this game does that. Like, it's always nice when it's a really slow. Oh, an Oreo.
Yep, saw that coming.
But it's always a shame when this game does that because I feel like it's always really interesting to see, like when it's like a slow transition to see, okay, who's going to gamble first? Will someone benefit from staying out or pitting earlier? And just the skies just open up like this. It really doesn't. Kind of takes away the strategery, if you will.
So, F1 Nerd and some guy, I think both had good pit stops. The gap just about the same as it was before they pitted.
And I'll also point out, I mean, I'm sure this is going to change before the end of the race, but so far of the 8, well, I guess it's really 7 drivers we still have in the race. No one has a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. I know there's probably a few people who are close to it in terms of warnings. And actually, I can, since there's not a whole lot going on, I can check the race director, see if we have any.
Well, I think you just jinxed it right there.
Well, did someone get a penalty?
Oreo just got 3 seconds.
Oof.
There's our
F1
first
nerd.
Curse of the season.
Yeah. F1 Nerd has 0 warnings. Some guy has 2. The Rizzy has 0 warnings. Hallberg has 0 warnings. So these guys are keeping it very clean. Chabar has 2 warnings. Oreo just got 1. Speedy has to have at least 1. Because, yeah, I saw that one. He only has 1. No, he has 2.
I don't understand what these two are doing. They keep leapfrogging positions, like intentionally. Oh, Oreo's in the pits. Well, I mean, he could have not done that. Oh, and he speeds again. Oreo.
Come on. Oh, no.
Oh, come on. Just finish the race. You're going to get
You're guaranteed
points.
6 points.
Ugh, I hate that.
Like, if you really don't want to drive, like, you could cheat. I mean, you're not supposed to do this, but you could cheese it and pause it for a couple laps. You're not technically supposed to do that. You're all by yourself in the back.
Okay, I wanted to mention this before pit stops. You got to keep in mind, I think part of the reason why F1 Nerd was slower in the sprint race is because of the rain. And look at what some guy is about to do right here on this lap.
That's a good point.
Yeah, he might get him here on this straightaway.
It's all about the exits, though. He has a good straight line speed. Remember, no DRS now. And oh, big tank slapper there, but some guy didn't get a particularly good exit either.
Battle for P1, F1 Nerd, some guy. A race down to turn 1, some guy taking a peek, but he will stay in line. Oh, some guy gonna send it a little bit here. He is right on the rear wing of F1 Nerd as they enter Sector 2 down to this right-hander of Turn 6.
Oh, F1 Nerd got a bit sideways there, but some guy kind of messed with flying PDSs there.
Keep in mind, too, the battery is easier to use during the rain. You can definitely use it a lot more.
And that combined with no DRS does make it a bit hard. Easier to defend, harder to overtake. This is worth noting, looking at the other battles. Hallberg and Rizzy are still close together, but they really gapped Chabar as well as Speedy.
Hallberg, not the best corner there through turn 16. He lost a few tenths. Boy, these two at the front are just giving it all, sliding on every corner.
And there's still 14 laps to go.
I don't know about you, Charles. I feel like the rain has just picked up.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, these guys are really struggling.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta just be thinking, like, at what point does it become more surviving, more than racing?
some guy got to him. Like you said, though, it's one thing to get to somebody, it's another thing to overtake them. Oh, man, tank slapper.
Yeah, you can tell some guy is doing everything he can just to be right on F1 Nerd's gearbox exiting the final sector here, but just can't seem to do it. He gets close to him, but he just can't meet the spot to overtake. And it's frustrating because I feel like some guy is faster than F1 Nerd, but he's basically stuck just waiting for a mistake.
A little lock up there by F1 Nerd. I can imagine that's going to happen here in these rainy conditions, especially if you're a guy like F1 Nerd, who I believe has ABS turned off.
Yeah. Yeah, F1 Nerd did reserve in Golden Class a few times last year.
True.
Along with, well, C-Rizzy raced in Golden Class last year, so I'm pretty sure he's got all of his assists off.
That battle for P3 still on, but this is the battle we're looking at here for P1. Hard to believe we still have 12 laps to go because it has been a long night.
Yeah, I mean, rain and safety car during... Oh, we had 2 safety cars in this race. 2 safety cars in the sprint plus the rain.
Man, I feel like if some guy can just do a better job in that final corner, he could have gotten this move done. He gets really close to him, and then that final corner, he just doesn't get the acceleration. I think his straight line speed's a lot better, though, because take a look at the gap.
Yeah. I agree, but that would also explain why he's struggling so much in that final part of the track, you know. F1 Nerd has a lot more downforce to play with. He's able to get the grip hooked up and get good exits. There.
Down to the left-hander of turn 4 and back into turn 5. Some guy might be setting himself up here. This could be the lap if he just doesn't make mistakes. Well, yeah, don't be doing that. Oh, and he's really sideways here, catches the curbs, and he is going to lose a lot of time.
There's Speedy Gunner for first 3-second time penalty. As it stands right now, it won't hurt him any.
I am impressed by F1 Nerd. He was saying before the race as to how Mexico is not one of his better tracks, and he was just hoping for a podium tonight, but even in the rain, which I don't think he was ready for when we had it in the sprint race, he's picking it up pretty well when it matters most.
I agree. He's not flinching right now, and some guy's definitely piling the pressure on, so... A little bit of a slide there, but he gets it together pretty well. But some guy, big run through the first complex of turns there. But just wasn't able to do much to it. I think F1 Nerd burned a bit of battery there. It's a little deep, and some guy just couldn't quite get the switch back on him there.
He gets close, he just can't get alongside him, and I think that's all it's going to take. If he can just get a nose inside, maybe after the S's here, but some guy isn't doing great in corners. He's gaining all of his time on the straightaways.
Yeah, once again, he didn't quite have the big tank slapper he did sometime there, but... And again, keep in mind, like, some guy, he can't, I don't know, he can't really, go for it like F1 Nerd can. So he's sitting on 2 warnings. So it's one of those things, like, he can't really afford to make a big mistake.
Oh, and there's a big mistake!
It was a good save, though, but yeah, And look, the way the pace that he's been showing, like, I feel like, I mean, you know, as long as he doesn't kill the tires here, which he might have this past lap, as long as he doesn't make any mistakes, or as long as he doesn't kill the tires, like, he'll probably catch right back up to F1 Nerd here.
I do gotta say, I think Hallberg made a mistake. He has lost over 2 seconds on the gap he had to see Rizzi.
You know, see, Rizzi has historically struggled a bit in the rain. So nice to see him having a good run here in horrible conditions.
Yeah, speaking of conditions, Charles, I'm not a weatherman, but I think we're going to have a dry track before it's all said and done.
I mean, it's still...
It's been letting up. It's been letting up a lot in the last few laps. I mean, look at, like, we had almost wet conditions, I feel like, a little while ago. Like, wet tire conditions.
And the question is, you know, the way this game does, how will... Oh, and they both had a bit of a tank slackers there that time, but how quickly will the track dry?
I mean, just take a look at the gap. Some guy is gaining multiple tenths per straightaway with no battery.
Quite get the exit there, but he's going to gain a bunch of time. Use a little bit of battery there.
He is at a disadvantage when it comes to the battery. F1 Nerd has double the battery right now. Oh, but he gets really sideways there in turn 5.
Yeah, just made a mistake in a part of the track where it's really hard to overtake, and some guys doing everything he can, but just, you know, since whenever he gets close, he just gets a little trigger happy on the throttle.
I gotta say, if he can just keep it within 0.6 of a second out of this final corner, he might have a chance, but this is by far his weakest corner right here.
Driving in. F1 Nerd does a really good job there. This is as close as he's been in a while, but he's still 8 tenths away. I think F1 Nerd's burning a bit of battery as well.
I do want to keep an eye on third place. Hallberg has gotten back one of those seconds. And some guy, man.
Yeah, he just got up onto the curb, and those curbs get extra slick. Wet. F1 Nerd is just... We've seen a few little bobbles from him, but it hasn't been... I mean, you feel like some guy is just on the edge every single corner, with F1 Nerd really well, as soon as I say that, they both made a mistake there, but it seems like F1 Nerd is a lot more in control.
That was a bad corner for some guy.
Yeah. They both made a mess of that XS section.
Well, like I said, Charles, take a look. There is no rain coming down now, and we still have 7 laps to go.
Yeah, I think that would swing the pendulum back in F1 Nerd's favor, you would think. But look how close. Some guy.
Oh! This might be his chance. F1 Nerd had a snap.
Both are burning the battery.
Some guy down to 14%. He's just got to get a decent exit out of the corner. This could be his chance to make an overtake, but he gets a little sideways.
feel like he's getting closer and closer and closer, but he just can't seem to really catch a break.
Yeah, I'm loving the way that some guy is racing him, though. I feel like he could have taken a shot there in turn 6, but some guy racing like a true veteran right now.
Hallberg is within a second to see Rizzy.
Wow. Oh boy, we got 2 battles here for the top 4 spots with no rain now, and they're still on those inners.
Right now he's really close.
Yeah, he's gonna get him right here. Draining the battery, some guy approaching F1 Nerd. To the inside he goes for the lead. They're side by side as they head down into turn 1. Who's going to get the advantage?
Yeah, some guy gets the job done. I'm surprised F1 Nerd did not go super defensive right there. Really surprised that he didn't try to defend the inside there. Now we'll see if some guy can possibly pull away from him.
Yeah, you just gotta wonder though, Charles, about these conditions. We saw F1 Nerd earlier on, I think was better in the dry, but of course, different tires and different conditions in general.
I mean, the track's still wet. Like, it still definitely enters conditions right now, so...
You know, if I were a guy like Chabar right now, I would pit. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Come in and pit for softs.
I don't think that would be... I mean, I'm still seeing spray off of some guy. Like, it's not a lot, but it's definitely something.
Let's take a look here. We know some guy has the straight line speed, so he might pull away. F1 Nerd has more battery to work with, but some guy is drifting on corner exit. Man, that's interesting. None of them used the battery right there. I think that just shows how strong the slipstream is. Because F1 Nerd didn't lose anything, but I don't think he got a good exit there. Some guy is in a good spot right now.
Yeah.
Well, we mentioned it on the podcast yesterday. Seafreeze picked some guy as the favorite for the championship, and some guy came in late last season, put up a couple of podiums, but couldn't quite get a victory. He might open up the Challenger Series with a W here in week 1.
I don't think the track's going to dry out in time. I mean, if it dries out in the next couple laps, since it's a little too late in the race to hit.
I think F1 Nerd needs to think big picture here. He needs to, he needs to realize that,
no, what happened there?
It's a long season, and you got a lot of races left, so don't do anything desperate.
What's the rule for a disconnect? You know, there's the DNF rules, I think 95% or whatever.
I'm pretty sure the same applies for disconnect. It's 90% for a DNF. So boy, Speedy's like right on the edge. But I mean, he could still get back in, finish it up, and he's not going to lose any spots, I don't think. So.
Well, I mean, we can't really, because Bulldog is versus AI driver.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
There will be no fastest lap point. Exo has the fastest lap, and I don't think track's going to dry out enough.
But we still have to remember that some guy has 2 warnings.
That is true.
Three laps to go in the race when they cross the line this time. Some guy pulling away here in these dry conditions. But like we said, he's just got to keep it on track, because if he steps over the line one more time, F1 Nerd could be the victor. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, F1 Nerd not hitting his apexes, and now he's on the verge of getting outside of that 3-second buffer. It's interesting, Charles. He's lost the pace in the dry, which was the opposite for most of the race.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a setup thing. Maybe the setup's just not good with tire wear and such. We can ask him. Maybe he's just struggling with tire wear here.
I do want to point out, too...
He says the power went out, but he's still shown his online, so just looking at invites, so I don't know what's going on.
C. Rizzy is closing in on F1 Nerd, and I think this would only matter if F1 Nerd were to get a penalty and C. Rizzy were to gain a couple of seconds. But just something to keep in mind here as we wrap up this race. 2 laps to go until some guy wins the Mexican Grand Prix for his first TCR victory. Yeah, I'm still seeing a little spray, actually, which is funny because there's been times in the past where the spray has cleaned up just like that. But I guess this is Mexico, and things are different.
BD, if you're listening, it still says you're online, so you can't get back in. Not entirely sure if his result would count or not. It's right on that 90% sort of thing. Bar gets a warning, and it doesn't matter, but Chabar is gaining on Hallberg. I think Chabar is actually faster than both D. Rizzy and Hallberg at the moment, and F1 Nerd at the moment. Chabar might be the fastest guy on track right now, actually. Oh, there's the DRS. Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, my sound just went out, but we are on the final lap of the race. Some guy... now it's back again. Okay, nice. Some guy over 3 seconds now, so if he does get a penalty, he will still win this race. Very impressive stuff by one of the favorites going into this season.
Yeah, an F1 Nerd. Who I would say is also one of the favorites. Come home P2. Same with Seafree. So they have 3 championship favorites.
Who?
Finishing 1, 2, 3, and
who?
One championship favorite unfortunately crashed out early. But...
yeah.
And then don't forget about D-Swish.
True.
Potential dark horse.
Well, we said in the podcast that this could be a season of parity. We could have as much as 7 different winners. And for the first race of Season 17 and for the first race of the Challenger Series, we will have a first-time TCR winner. As he rounds the final corner, some guy wins the Mexican Grand Prix Round 1. F1 Nerd P2, C Rizzy P3, Hallberg close to his first podium P4.
Well, congrats to all who survived.
Haha.
I know it's great. I think all of our top 3 are PlayStation guys, so we can just do a PS party.
We can do a good old-fashioned PlayStation party. I love that. That's how it should be.
I'm not gonna mention any names.
Some guy, the American, first TCR win and the first winner of the new Challenger Series. Oh, now it's sunny again. Look at that.
I don't think I have some guy on my friends list. So you have to invite him.
Yeah, I've got all 3 of them, so I will. I'll get them in here, and we will do this the old-fashioned way. Oh, look at that! See Rizzy already here. That was quick. I don't know if I have some guy. Let me see. Oh, he is. Okay. All right. They have been added. Looks like C Rizzy's already here, so we'll wait for them to get in here, then we'll get this show on the road. Well, that was. I feel like that was quite the race because it was, exciting for most of it, and then the second half was pretty anticlimactic, I would say.
Yeah, I
I
mean, it
mean,
was tense for most of it at least, but it
yeah,
was. Things got a bit spread out, which tends to happen when you have 6 guys driving in the rain, but a few almost battles. Um, but yeah, we'll give some. I guess we'll give some guy a few extra moments. So we could go ahead and start with C Rizzy and see if give some guy a few more minutes here.
sure. All right, so before we begin, just make sure you guys have your audio shared. If you go into the party settings, there will be a spot for that. But we will start with P3 C Rizzy. Welcome to the podium interviews for the first time in the Challenger Series. You had a pretty good battle, I would say, with Hallberg. Things were going from 3 seconds down to 1 second. The gap was kind of fluctuating there. But the thing I want to point out is your battle with Speedy Gunner because you were stuck behind him for a little bit. So just talk us through
Yeah, if that's what you like to call it.
that.
Yeah, I didn't want to let him by on that last restart, but it just so happened that was the case. And then once I was waiting for DRS to get enabled, but he seemed to not want to give DRS, especially on the lap that I first tried to get by him. I do think that he braked, went out of his way to get DRS, which really put us behind P1 and 2. I feel like I could have battled up front there at the end, but we got put very far behind from that. and it cost me way too much of my tires and my battery to fight that.
And, I think in the second half of the race, once you were able to get by him and not worry about that, the conditions were crazy. It went wet for most of the race, and then we saw that towards the end the rain stopped, but the spray was still there, coming from under the cars. How were the conditions at the end of the race? Do you think you could have gotten away with putting on soft tires? Not that it would have been ideal for you, but how are the conditions there at the end?
Absolutely not. I don't think that the conditions got there until literally the last lap, when DRS was enabled, obviously. But at least looking at the race at the beginning, there was absolutely zero sign of rain. So I think it was a shock to, unless I read it wrong, but I think it was a shock to literally everybody. And then the fact that it rained for half the race kind of sucked. As we got really no dry running with all the safety cars and everything. But yeah, the conditions were tricky with my setup. I felt like I was not moving in the slow speed corners, which is usually when Hallberg was catching up to me. But luckily, I was able to keep him at bay for that race.
Right on. And Charles, you got any questions for Rizzy?
Um, yeah, well, I'll just reiterate what you said. I mean, we were notified, I said in the Discord and the commentator chat that it would be a dry race. There's no indication of rain, so I think that everyone was kind of in the same boat there in terms of the rain. But said with the rain and tricky conditions, I mean, how were you able to manage to gap to Hallberg? And was there any moments that he almost got you, or that you thought you might have to get your elbows out to defend? How did that whole scenario go?
Yeah, I was on two warnings for pretty much half the race. So I was really having to take it easy, especially through sector two. Um, and I was really just focusing on not getting that third warning because I knew he was going to keep within that 3 seconds. Um, but I think I was able to hold on to a little bit more battery. He was using a little bit more just to try to catch back up. So that really assisted me down the main straight, and I think that was ultimately the thing that helped me keep that gap.
Yeah. Well, we'll say, well, aside from, I believe F1 Nerd, we got two warnings late. They're like y'all three, some guy, you and Hallberg had two warnings for pretty much the entire race. It seemed like so.
No, it makes me feel
For what it's
better.
worth, I think y'all are all on the same page there. But yeah, no, good solid drive, and yeah, hopefully we'll get some dry racing. Oh, what's the next race? I haven't even looked at the schedule.
Miami.
Miami. I'll flip a coin, I guess. But yeah, good drive overall, and yeah, I guess see you next week.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yeah, Rizzy, congrats on the podium, and good on you and F1 Nerd to represent the foundation here. We got two of us here on the podium.
Yes, sir.
It's good to see. All right. Well, speaking of F1 Nerd, we'll go to him, and I'm sure you wish that we were talking to you next instead of right now because it was close. You almost got the win, but you were overtaken there late in the race. You and some guy were really toe to toe for a while. What do you think was the difference, though, in the end?
Well, honestly, I was not even expecting to be fighting for the win with some guy after that qualifying session. I just thought they had way more pace, but it was the rain at the end. It stopped raining by lap 27 or something. Like the rain completely stopped, and I don't know what happened, but my tires just I couldn't drive anymore. It was tough to keep it straight. So I just gave up the position to some guy because I knew he'd overtake me eventually. So I didn't push too hard I was pushing until I got the second warning, and then I just kind of backed out.
And I was a little curious about your fuel because I know that was a hot topic between us before the race. What was the fuel like by the end?
Well, I put 4 plus over like I usually do on on this track, and then it rained. So if it wasn't gonna rain, it would be like 2 over, I'd say. But yeah, it's surprisingly rained somehow with no indication. So I was at plus, I'd say still +3, +3, I think, by the end.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad considering, the rain and not just that, but we had multiple safety cars as well.
Yeah.
So it must have been crazy from your point of view.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was hoping we'd have more a dry race, and then rather than like a wet or like just under a safety car. But yeah, it wasn't that bad at the end.
Charles, you got any questions for Mr. Nerd?
Um, well, I was gonna say, I mean, I guess so. You kind of just let some guy go there because it looked like he could have defended it a little hard when he did pass you, a little harder. You just kind of trying to play the long game there, or
Well, I tried like using my ERS until at a certain point where I was just like almost out. So I knew he was eventually going to overtake me. So I just stopped draining so I could have more saved in case like maybe I could attack him back, and then we just keep swapping positions. But then after he passed me, I couldn't brake. I just yeah I was never going to keep up anyways. He was eventually going to overtake me at that point. So not too disappointed, but yeah.
all right. Well, I don't really have anything else. Congrats on the runner-up. Like I said, pretty solid start to the
Thanks.
season, and yeah, I have a feeling we'll be talking to you a lot this season. So,
I'll try my best. Thank you.
Yeah, bud, congrats on the P2. And I know it's, probably not what you wanted, but considering, your expectations before the race, I think you should
Oh no, yeah, I
definitely be
would take
proud.
this. I'm so happy with the P2. I was expecting a P5, so I'm taking this. I don't yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Well, it seems as if our race winner has gone to bed, which I think is actually a flex. Win the race, get off, and just go to bed. That's just simple as that. So that will do it for round one. Um, Charles, I mean, I don't even know where to begin, man. I mean, what a way to start off the Challenger Series.
yeah, I think there's I think we have a lot to look forward to. Let's say there's a lot of good battling, a lot of really good, I guess elbows out, but not really, aggressive driving, but nothing too crazy. I think we saw some good racing here, and I think there's just a few guys who can contend for points and even podiums if they can just not go all out and bin it by themselves. But yeah, but overall, I think it was a pretty good start to the series, and like I said, hopefully we'll get some more good racing here as the season goes on.
And we will be back next week for the Challenger Series. We will be in Miami to do the second race of our little North American tour, at least for the first part of the season. But tomorrow night, we are back, same time, same place. The elite drivers will take on this treacherous Mexico circuit. Charles and I are praying for no rain, though, because we don't want to have to deal with what F1 Nerd just went through tonight.
That is for sure. Yeah, rain races stress me out. I'd rather just not deal with it. But yeah, we'll see. I got some practicing to do. That's for sure.
And we will see you tomorrow night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time, same place. My name is Camden Luca. That is Sir Charles, and we will see you tomorrow night for the Elite Series. Good night.